Sig Sauer P365 SAS or SAS. Three, 5, 7, and 10 yards. Welcome everybody back to the Concealed Carry channel. I'm Grant McLean. Thank you for joining us today for another unboxing and honest review. I have a very sought after gun on the market right now that we're going to be doing an unboxing and review of, so I'm super excited about that. Before we jump into things, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, and of course share the channel, share the love to all your friends and family and other concealed carry gun owners and enthusiasts. Now, I do want to give a big shout out and thank you to our main sponsor, Northwest Armory. If you need any guns or anything like that, and they will ship to your local FFL, go to nwarmory.com. If you go into the store, tell them that Grant McLean with the Concealed Carry channel sent you in. They're going to, of course, make sure to take care of you. And say hi to Khaki because he's such a good boy. All right, so let's jump right into this. The gun that I'm talking about today that we're going to be doing an unboxing of is the Sig Sauer P365 SAS or SAS, okay? So let's go ahead and unbox this. All right. Now, this is a very sought-after gun in the market right now. They're sold out basically everywhere. The one that I have here today is the non-compensated model, okay? So there's two different versions of this, okay? And let's jump into that in a second here, but let me tell you what's in the box. So I've already got a chance to handle this gun, so it's out of the plastic bag, and we still have the safety flag in there, as you can see, and we're just gonna pop that slide back and remove that safety flag there in the magazine. So let's talk about what's in the box. We have the 365 SAS, okay? We have a 10-round mag with the pinky extension. We have a 10-round flush fit mag right there. We have a little bottle of lube. Why not? And then we have your manual, interesting, P320 manual in your 365 manual, in your 365 case, all right? And then we have a few other fun stickers and pieces of paperwork in there. A little extra propaganda, right? In the bottom here, we have your lock, like usual, and that about sums everything up inside the case. So, like what I was just mentioning a second ago, if you purchase or are looking to purchase the 365 SAS or SAS, okay, and you want the compensated model, what you're looking for is the 365 9 SAS C, okay? So don't let that be, you know, like one of those things that you look online, because I know if you go to Sig's website, they're going to have pretty much the pictures. It's going to say the SAS, and you're going to have the pictures of the one with the compensated barrel, and then you'll go to order it online or something like that, and you'll order a 365 SAS, and you'll go, oh, wow, where's the comps, okay? So just make sure that it does have the C at the end of that model number, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and dissect this gun. We did take it to the range. I did actually get to shoot the SAS compensated model as well, and I'll tell you my findings about that there. And then, as you can see, I have some targets up on here, and I'll tell you why. It has a lot to do with the rear sights, and we'll jump into that. So what we did was we went to the range, and we did groupings of 3, 5, 7, and 10 yards. Now, you can obviously see in the 10 yards, there's a lot of shots in there. And what we normally do is I basically take the pistol, okay? I get a little bit more familiar with the sight and the ergonomics and, you know, how I want to grip the pistol and shoot the pistol. And I do 5 shots in 2 seconds at 3, 5, 7, and 10 yards, okay? And the groupings, like always, just exponentially get larger, okay? Because I'm shooting relatively quickly, okay? So with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the sights on this gun, okay? So this has, if you've ever seen like the Met Pro light sights, this has sights that are very similar to that. Sig calls them their FT bullseye sights, okay? Now the FT bullseye sights, you can see here, there's no front sight on the slide, and the rear sights are essentially flush with the slide, okay? And the sights are only about an inch or so deep into that slide, okay? So what you're doing is you have kind of like a ring, like a ghost ring there, and you're putting a dot in the center of that ghost ring, and then essentially you're just putting that dot in the center of your target, okay? Now I've seen online where people say, oh, the sights aren't very accurate, so on and so forth, and there's a few things that I think attribute to that remark. One, your sights are in the slide. So your slide is going to block a lot of the target, okay? Because it's not sitting above it, okay? And you're not putting it in a 6 o'clock position. So you're putting that dot directly in the center of the target that you want to hit, okay? So that's one thing that I think people need to get used to a little bit, get more time behind the trigger. But I'll show you what these targets are for up here, because the reason why I have so many shots on this 10-yard mark here, you'll see that. The reason why I have so many shots on this 10-yard mark is, quite frankly, I just got frustrated. I couldn't just get this nice, solid, tight group. So, you know what? I just left the target out there, and I just kept shooting and plugging away at it, okay? So what I did was I grabbed a little buff pad from my garage so I can show you how this works. Now, when the target is obviously close to you, it's going to be bigger, okay? And let's pretend that this is the sight, okay? So you can see that the sight doesn't take up much of the target, right? And so getting those groupings in there at the 3 yards, okay, here, was fairly simple. And then as it got 5 yards, you can see the groupings got bigger. 7, they got bigger. 10, they just got obnoxious. You know, they got embarrassing. And usually I'm not embarrassed when it gets bigger. So what we have here is my little buff pad, and this is what we're going to use as a demonstration for the target. So target is close, it's bigger. You can see the buff pad doesn't take up a whole lot of the target. Now, once we push that target back, the target's going to get smaller. You can see how much of that buff pad takes up the target, right? So this sight, as the target gets further out, it now takes up more and more of the target. See that? So what happens is you feel that you're on target because your sight is on the target. However, the room for error is big. It's a big room for error. Now, here's the thing is this is a micro compact gun. It's designed to be used as a defensive firearm. And quite honestly, 10 yards out, you might have a hard time convincing a jury that that was actually self-defense, okay? So as you may already know, really something like this, you'd practice more so within the 7 yards. And with that being said, I think that it is a fairly accurate gun with practice once you get used to the rear sight and how the sights work, okay? Now, let's go over some specs on the gun real quick. This is considered to be a micro compact, and I did do the review on the 365 XL, and I said on that one, I don't feel that it's a micro compact. I feel that it's more of a subcompact. Here's the 365 XL, okay? You can definitely see the differences there, okay? 365 XL, 365 SAS, so you can see that grip. Obviously, you see the barrel. Now, on this barrel, I did put the Griffin Armament threaded barrel with the comp on there. I'm going to be doing a review for that later because I just put that on, but you can definitely see that this is significantly, I guess I shouldn't say significantly. It's appropriate when they say that this is a micro compact. Okay, so This has a capacity of 10+1 from the factory. You do have that flush fit mag right there, 10 rounds. And then you have one with a pinky extension right there, okay? And it doesn't really add to that back strap, which is kind of nice if you're looking to not print very much. So as far as the dimensions go here, you're looking at a length of 5.8 inches. You're looking at a height of 4.1 inches, and you're looking at a width of 1 inch. The gun weighs in at 1 pound, 2 ounces. This barrel is a 3.1 inch barrel, and these are chambered in 9mm only, okay? Now that we've talked about how these sights work using those targets up top here, you know, one of the things that I found with the sights is you have to be directly behind the gun for those sights to work, okay? It's not like a red dot or anything like that, and they won't really illuminate until you are directly behind them. So if you're used to the rear sight, I mean, obviously you can see those 2 dots right away. If it's dark or you're trying to acquire your rear sight than your front sight, I mean, because there is no front sight. So front sight acquirement is essentially non-existent on this. You have to find that little dot inside, okay? After some practice, I mean, just like anything, you know, aligning your grip with your target, it does start to come naturally, okay? Which I do really like. But up until then, yeah, be patient with yourself, okay? Now, there is tritium in these sights. I have heard and seen some people say, I can't find the sight in the dark. Well, the problem is like I just said, if you're not directly behind this sight, you're going to have a hard time finding it. So what people do is they go into their closet, their bathroom, close the door, shut off all the lights, right? And then they hold up their pistol and they can't even see the gun anyways, and they're trying to find the rear sight. Well, you have to align your sight, okay? And then if you turn off the lights, so you have somebody turn off lights, you will find that sight. It is very faint, just like it should be. It's not supposed to be overly bright in the dark, but you'll easily find them as long as you have it aligned. But that's kind of the thing is if you're looking for something to just flash out at you in the dark, you might be better off actually getting like a light or laser and not necessarily relying on getting directly behind these sights in the dark. That's my opinion, okay? The SAS, just so you know, stands for Sig Anti Snag. So essentially they're just going to flush, you know, make everything flush and smooth and minimize everything on the gun. With the slide, they've done a great job machining the slide just like the other 365s. You know, if you look at this, you'd never even know that there was supposed to be a front sight there. Wonderful. The front of the slide is beautifully beveled right there. The machining for the 365 SAS looks really good. The fitment of that rear sight into the slide looks fantastic. Everything as far as, you know, fit goes for the slide and finish of the slide, I'm very happy with. It's kind of expected from Sig. As far as that goes, you know, everything's nice and smooth. I do like that a lot, okay? As far as safeties go, there is no safeties as far as manual safeties on the gun. It does have its own internal safeties, but there are no manual thumb safeties on the gun. There is a little notch here, okay, that you can see if there is brass in the chamber, so you can at least see if there is a bullet in the chamber. And of course you do have the front serrations, which are easy to manipulate there. So if you wanted to do a press check, you absolutely can, okay? Pretty easy as far as that goes. So let's go ahead and move on over to the mag release here, okay? The mag release is the same mag release on all the other 365s. So I did find that just like with my 365 XL, I have to move my pinky and my middle finger to be able to manipulate that magazine release, okay? And if you didn't see that video, the reason why is when you're gripping the gun, okay, your middle finger can somewhat block that mag release button, And then also with your pinky there, your palm might keep the magazine from freely dropping, okay? So that's the reason why. It's very easy to find that mag release though. Now, the thing that I didn't really care for with this particular grip, so this grip module is the regular 365 grip module, okay? I do prefer the XL one because it does, so it's kind of like you have the extended, mag in there all the time. So with this one, your palm doesn't cover as much of the bottom of the magazine, keeping it in, so you don't have to move as much out of the way. So with this one, you really do have to get the bottom of your hand out of the way if you want that to drop freely, okay? So that's one of the things that I really didn't, so much care for on this, is you need, well, at least I do, I would really like having that pinky extension built in to the grip itself. I can't imagine, honestly, that a lot of people even run this just with the flush, because being it's a 9mm and such a small gun, if you have your pinky hanging off the bottom there, that's just less grip you have. And as far as, small micro compact 9mm, they tend to pop. So in my opinion, the more positive grip you can get, the better, okay? So the mag release there, easy to find, easy to manipulate, but you are gonna have to practice with that. And you're basically just gonna hold on to the gun with your ring finger and a portion of your middle finger when you're doing those reloads, okay? So practice. I'm not gonna say that this is, for some, that's very easy to do. For others, that could be the deciding factor whether or not this is gonna be a good fit for you guys, okay? For me, of course, doing these reviews, and I do have the opportunity to purchase these guns. For me, the 365 XL is a better fit for the way that I shoot in my hands, and I have medium-sized hands, okay? All right, so as far as the grip goes, this being that it is the regular 365 grip module, okay, this does not have the extended beaver tail, so if that's something that's important to you, I wouldn't recommend this one necessarily, but it does get pretty, you can get a nice high purchase, and it does get pretty deep into the webbing of your hand, which I did like. I did notice shooting this versus the 365 XL that because there wasn't that beaver tail on the back, you do notice more recoil, more muzzle flip, just because it's not as much surface area there. Outside of that, it's not bad once you get used to the pinky extension, or where your pinky sits is part of the extension. It's not part of the actual magwell. The grip on this, the texturing, of course, is fantastic. So even as you're shooting and your hands get sweaty, they don't slip around. It does feel like, kind of has that G10 type of feel to it, which I do really like. Now, also the other difference is being that this is not a 365 XL, this does not have the flared magwell, okay? So those are things to take a look at if you're deciding between the two of them, okay? Let's go ahead and jump into the trigger. So this is gonna be the curved trigger. This has a 5-pound trigger pull. I actually do like this trigger. I prefer the feel of the flat face trigger, okay? But this trigger has a shorter reset, okay? So, and I'll show that to you now. So let's go ahead and pop out that mag, okay? And so you'll see here, we're gonna go ahead and pull the trigger, okay? Check out this reset, it's really short, right? So I do like that a lot. It has some take up, but then once you hit the wall and it breaks really clean. Yeah, I would say that this, if this was a flat trigger, it would just get extra bonus points, I do like that a lot. So, not a bad trigger by any means, and, of course, you can kind of come to expect that Sig is going to make a pretty good quality product at this point. As far as the ergonomics go of this gun, everybody that I know who's gotten a 365 in their hands tends to really like the feel of it. And for the most part, in my opinion, I haven't found that it really matters if you have big hands or little hands. People just grab this gun, they go, wow, that feels fantastic. And then of course they pop on the mag and they see it's a double stack and they go, whoa, 10 rounds. And then of course, you know, you have 12 round magazines you can get, and you have 15 round magazines you can get. And, you know, of course their head just blows up, you know, they're, whoa, I need one, I need two, you know. The ergonomics on this gun are absolutely fantastic. Of course, I do like the pinky extension being built into the magwell myself. They really smoothed everything out on the gun really well, which I like. The only thing that I found that was kind of, actually not even kind of, but severely a deterrent for me and in reviewing this was, if you take a look here, you'll see the slide lock release lever here. And you see that they've shaved this down to basically nothing. It's just like a little nub. Well, it's really quite difficult to manipulate that, okay? So, I mean, you can probably just barely fit your fingernail in there to be able to manipulate that and push the slide down. In fact, I've kind of just given up on even trying to manipulate that. I just remove the mag. Yeah, when it goes back, trying to manipulate that down, nope, not happening. I've just, nope, just remove the mag, slingshot it back, closed. So that's one of the things that I was just like, that really does suck that they took that away, because I didn't think that this was much of anything that would snag, being that they smoothed over the lever and the slide lock release lever. So my opinion, they should have just kept it that way. You know, I didn't see any problem with that before. The other thing, with that being said, that they've also minimized and kind of eliminated is you'll see this little flathead screw. Well, that's now your takedown lever, okay? I had to go get a screwdriver, and I didn't want to scratch the gun, so I put some tape on the tip of it, and to be able to go, okay, you know, how is this going to come apart? Like, I'm looking at this, is this going to come apart just as easily as this does? No, it doesn't. I cursed myself. Actually, I cursed I cursed the gun a few times. I was like, nope. I might get to the point that I wouldn't even clean the gun as often as I normally would because that screw. So, and the thing is too, like, these grip modules, they're modular, right? So you could take a XL grip module and put it onto here theoretically. But the thing is, how are you going to pull that out, because that takedown lever is what holds your firing control unit in. There's no handle to pull on. So I was looking into this, you know, and I was just like, nope, that's a pain in the butt, you know. So I think Sig should have just kept these as is. They functioned great, they looked great, and I didn't think that they would really, that's not going to snag, in my opinion, on really anything, okay? So, you know, this was one of those guns that I was very excited to get into my hands and shoot and see how much I'd like it, because there's so many people that were like, oh my gosh, this thing this is it, this is the new thing, you know, all the anti-snag, the FT bullseye sight, kind of like the Met Pro, and just in the photos it looks awesome, you know what I mean? But you know what ended up happening was, you know, it was kind of like an avalanche. It starts and it's pretty and cool, and then as time goes on, it turns into like a disaster. And you're like, oh my god, maybe we should rethink this climb on the mountain. So yeah, but take everything I say, of course, with a grain of salt. You know, if this has the features that you're looking for, and the things that I explained here that don't fit for me might fit for you, like the grip module and the takedown lever and that slide lock release lever. If those things aren't important to you, then you know what? Like I said, you know, I own the 365 XL, so I just own the little bit longer, you know, bigger version of this. So I like it a lot. Okay. When it comes to the recoil on this pistol, it is pretty manageable. I think as far as a polymer frame, I know that this is not the actual frame. It's the grip module, but comparatively to like the Smith & Wesson Shield, the Glock 43, and the Ruger LC9, I think that this is a smoother shooting gun in my opinion. So I do really like, you know, the recoil management on it. It still pops, don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, any of these micro compact 9mm are gonna pop, but I think comparative to the other guns on the market that this would go against, this does absorb the recoil and manage that better. Okay. One of the things is of course, because of the rear sight though, and you have to be directly behind that sight, if it recoils, you might lose that sight like that, okay? And you don't have a front sight sitting up here, so reacquiring that sight might be a little bit more difficult. But like I said earlier, practice. All right, so accessories. These 365s are taking the world by storm. There are a ton of accessories. As far as if you have the SAS with the compensated barrel, I don't know that I have seen many accessories as far as threaded barrels. You know, I don't know why you'd have a threaded barrel with a compensator, but with this, it's not cut for like a red dot, okay? This is like cut into the top of the slide, so it's not cut on the sides of the slide. So if you want to do a red dot, you would probably have to do some extra milling, of course. You don't have to worry about any other sights though, you know, because there is no front sight to replace or anything. There are some pretty good flush fit accessories that I've seen from Sig, like the laser and light. They seem to function really well, and they do aesthetically look very good. But I know that there's other companies that are making laser and light, laser light combinations, so on and so forth, to fit these rails. I know that there's, you know, obviously you have your 10 rounders. There's 12 round mags. I have a 15 round mag, so you guys can see what this looks like. So if you wanted to go a little bit longer with it, you totally can. Again, nice fit finish. The rear has a little bit to be desired there. You know, it's just bare metal. But I did see a company that actually makes like a sleeve, and that covers that up and kind of integrates into the rear backstrap and extends that out. So I have seen that. It looks really good. I haven't got one in my hands yet, but as soon as I do, I'll let you guys know how that you know, all works out. But other than that, accessories galore, tons of holsters available, tons of everything available for these. Okay, so fit and finish, it's a Sig Sauer. Everything looks nice, tight, fits well. The finish on it, the coating on it seems to hold up well too. With the compensated model, the fit and finish is fantastic as well. So the porting on the barrel looks great. The cuts on the slide look great. As far as recoil goes, be honest with you, I didn't notice a huge amount of difference with the recoil on this one versus the compensated one. Okay, so, or the ported one. So, you know, it's up to you. The other one does look cooler because it does have the cuts. But at the same time, keep in mind, when you shoot that gun in the dark, you are going to have a big flash of light, and that could throw off your sight for a couple seconds or a second, to where you then can reacquire the target. So that's kind of the thing is you'll have two big blotches of light every single time you shoot that gun in the dark. So if that is an important thing to you, then I would probably lean towards the non-compensated model. Okay. All right. So outside of that, you guys, again, make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. You know, it helps out the channel immensely. I'm super happy that I got to get my hands on this gun while I could. And thank you again to the folks over at Northwest Armory providing the gun for me to be able to do an honest tabletop review for you guys. And this way you can make a good educated decision on whether or not this might be a good fit for you before you buy it. If you do want to order a gun, or you do need a gun shipped to your local FFL, just go to nwarmory.com. You can order the gun there and have it shipped to your local FFL. If you go into the store, make sure that you mention that you saw Grant McLean on the Conceal Carry channel, and of course they're going to make sure to take care of you there. And other than that, I have a really cool review. It's actually not a gun review, it's a product review that we're going to have coming out for one of the #1 selling handguns on the market. So make sure you hit that subscribe so you know when that one comes out here. I'm super excited about that. So anyways, you guys, thanks again for joining us today on the Conceal Carry channel, and we'll see you next time. I have the Sig Sauer. Okay. All right. The slide, like. The grip, do not like. They got embarrassing. And usually I'm not embarrassed when it gets bigger. So what we have here is... You okay? All right. And my middle finger to be able to manipulate that slide, or I'm sorry, that, to be able to... Okay. I have to move my pinky and my middle yet, even if it exists. Okay, what the am I talking about? COVID-19. Okay, so.
I don't figure what the am I talking about? It's so funny.
All right, so let's talk. God, you know what? And what's funny is I want to put the mag in here and I want to like play around and manipulate the gun, but the problem is if I pull back on the slide, now I gotta drop the mag out of the thing so I can even put the slide forward. And it's not as fun anymore, I guess. I don't know. In there.
Is that a wrap?
That's a wrap. Taking that back to the shop.